Hello everyone, Karen Porter, holistic nutritionist and wellness coach. And today I wanted to come on to talk to you a bit about mindset. I posted a picture of me when I was quite young, when I decided that I wanted to talk about this particular subject. I just looked quickly for a picture of me, and that one is quite young in comparison to what I'm going to be talking about. But I wanted to talk about how so many of our decisions and therefore actions are really based on our mindset that is really at the the subconscious level. And it relates back to, or you can look back in your life to see that it typically was something that happened in your childhood. And for anybody that took the any landmark training, that's where some of this has come from. But we can go back and look at a time in our life when when something failed for us, or when we failed, and then what we told ourselves. It may be out loud, or, likely it's just in your head, but something that you told yourself in order for you to be able to deal with the situation. So for example, mine is an example of when I did something wrong as a child. And I was about 4, and your experience might be anywhere from 4 to 18. But typically it is in the early formative years. But it was something where I was, I did something wrong and I was really yelled at. Now that's not uncommon. I'm sure all of us as children remember being yelled at. But depending on the situation and depending on what you told yourself, it's going to be different for each one of us. For myself, my command was, I'm never going to do that again. I'll never disappoint you. So for someone else, it could be entirely different. It could be a failing grade, and maybe when you're a bit older. And so in that example, if that was you, you might have said, I just don't care. And so and someone else might have an example where they said something to the effect of, I'm never going to do that again, but they've got a different line that follows that. So whether the line was, I just don't care, or I'm never going to do that again, I'll never disappoint you, as was the meaning or the attachment that I gave to the situation, your life is shaped that way. So, as I grew up in my teenage years, in my adult years, it was that, for me, it was always that, that command that I gave myself, that I was able to deal in that situation, which was, I'll never disappoint you. So for me, that turned into a type of, perfectionism and always wanting validation. And so you can see how each of us will have a different lane or path that we go in based on the command that we tell ourselves. So how is that important to you, and why does that matter? Or how can you use this? Well, it's really going back and, looking at those situations in your childhood that really stand out, and what you told yourself, or, the command you gave yourself to allow you to, to deal with it. And then you can see how it shapes the decisions and actions in your life. Once you become aware of that, you can step outside of it and maybe, think and act a little differently. So, that's been very important in my life, and trying to find that out. But you can also use that in terms of how you make, how you make choices around anything new that you want to take on. For some people, it might be, I'm not, if you failed in something, it might be, I'm never going to do that again. I won't do something that hard. And so in that example, that person would always quit something that they were doing in order to do something easier that they could have success in. So, we've got three very different examples, but they all go back to what we said, really in childhood. So in terms of, healthy choices, if you're somebody that said, with that failing grade, that's too hard, I'm going to apply myself in another area. You might be somebody who works really hard, but doesn't look after yourself, doesn't, do self-care in terms of your eating or your exercise, but you pour yourself into your work, or you pour yourself into something else. And, that is wonderful, but we've really got to, we really want to look at all the areas of our life to try and have balance and happiness and fulfillment. So if this resonates with you at all, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Definitely this is going to have more parts to it. This is just part one of sort of digging in, but it really, speaks to the mindset and how we speak to ourselves, or what we say to ourselves. Maybe you're somebody who says, I just don't have enough willpower to do that. Or, I'm too busy. All of these things that we tell ourselves really can be looked at in the context of, what we've told ourselves for a number of years. So I hope this, is something that you can work with, and I would love to talk to you further if it is. So, so please comment. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Friday. Cooking with Karen.